Hello, this video is not sponsored. I did not sign up for the manufacturer's affiliate program, and I do not have any referral codes for you. I spent the money and time to buy, build, and review this for you because I already had experience with one product from this company and it was excellent, and this here just looked really cool to me. The name of the brand is very unfortunate and very distracting, and that's all I'm going to say about it. They are in the process of rebranding because they were told how bad that is, so they're going to change it. The retail price of this is $170 US. I've not been able to find it for $170 US in the US because on their own website and Amazon, it started out from day one between 20 and 25% off. So in the 130 to 140, 45 kind of range. This comes with 2,507 pieces. This is all I'm going to show you for the figures for the entire video. They exist, but they are not this type of figure. And so I know that most of my viewers are just going to think about throwing those away because they are not this type of figure. And this is the only type of figure that anybody wants to see who's been familiar with this type of figure. So yeah, it's not legal for any other company to make figures that look like that. There's a trademark protection and stuff. So they've come up with their own thing. At least the hair pieces are compatible with the other type of figure. But hey, the dog is cool. It's got a print on that side and a different print on that side. You know, it's cybernetically augmented. With the lights turned way down in the room, you can see how this has quite a lot of light on it, both on the outside as well as on the inside. We'll look at some of those details, but this is being powered by 3 AA batteries with the included battery box, and they are rechargeable, so not the maximum voltage. It gets brighter than this. And here's what it looks like powered by a USB battery box, just a little external, phone backup sort of thing. The lower level has a single continuous light in this little stall down here, little food stall. This is doing its own thing. You see, that's just edge lighting right there. This is not actual EL wire. It's kind of like faux EL wire. It's just a somewhat slightly hazy or slightly foggy fiber optic sort of piece, just a flexible piece of plastic with an LED down over here in this brick embedded and an LED over there embedded. The garage stall has a light in it, but there's actually a second one as well that I'll show you once we start looking at the details. You got a light over here in the vending machine, a little bit of edge lighting right there. They actually put one inside of the floor there. Also, there's a nice little surprise over here with a slight bit of extra lighting there and a little bit down at the end. And then when you go upstairs, you're going to see more of the faux EL wire sort of setup. These signs are just simply edge lit. So you got one right here and then one up there. Additional lighting for the next floor, and that's all just continuous. And then all the way at the very top, this is just a little aircraft warning light, and it just has a slow pulse to it. One of the things everybody wants to know about a brick brand that they're not familiar with is how is the brick quality, and brick quality just really wasn't an issue for me going through this. The very first time I did a product from this brand, I was really interested in it, and they showed me, it was proven that they had good quality, and this has the same. So just to not be super repetitive every single time I review one of these things, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes talking about brick quality. Brick quality is just fine. They use, I believe, Go Bricks. The manufacturer of the bricks themselves is Go Bricks, a company that makes parts for a whole lot of different brands. They're some of the best in the world. Simply, that's no hyperbole. I've checked, and many people agree with me around the world. They make some of the best quality bricks in the world with pretty good consistency, not 100% color consistency, but it's pretty high. As the leading brand is coming down in quality, these guys are already up there. They have many brick designs that the leading brand does not have or has not had in decades. A lot of innovative stuff in here as well, stuff that you won't see from the leading brand, but that other companies have done for years in the past that just allow you to build in ways that are much more interesting, much more sensible, in my personal opinion. Once you break out a little bit and start to look around in other directions, you'll just learn that there's a much larger world out there of possibilities of brick building than just one dominant company can provide. I love the use of the so many transparent pieces, so many pieces have been recolored to color combinations I've never seen. No stickers here. Beware that early on in this brand's history, they're relatively new, but early on in the history, they did do some sets that have stickers. So if you're interested in buying something from them, be sure to check on their website, the instruction manuals, and see if the particular thing that you want has stickers or not. If stickers are a big problem for you, just check on that, because again, some of their older stuff does still have it. They've got access ports, and we'll look at the details here to be able to see the interior. There's one down here as well. One of the least enjoyable things about this to look at is just down here. So I've put it back on the, oh, sorry about that, back on the default battery box. So this cable that they include, it's just lame, right? It sucks. It sticks out. It's super obvious. Nobody wants to see all that. So I do recommend replacing that. But this is the main power input down here. It uses USB-C, and there's just a single switch right there. And as you can see, the power is going into the plate, the base plate, except it's not a base plate. It's more like a Mills plate, but with a plate at the bottom of it. So you've got a total of 5 plates of height here, and that's where the power distribution is occurring. So all of your power initially goes in here, and then it travels all around through the base, including coming all the way, you can see it pops up from the ground over here. You can see it's under there. There's actually a little bit, I don't have the angle here, but there's a little bit of light that can be seen through the manhole cover here, and it just feeds the power wherever it needs to go, including from floor to floor. It goes through touch terminals. So you don't have wires that go all the way through. Each of the wires is pretty much the exact length that it needs to be. They give you just a little bit of extra wire, but you don't end up with these huge bundles of spaghetti like aftermarket lighting kits have. Like this is as bad as it gets, for just excess is like that. So never did I find that the wires were too tight, but definitely never did I find that there was just a ton of wiring left over that was just difficult to hide or to deal with. This is the kind of amount of excess. I could push some of that inside of there. This one here in particular doesn't try too hard to hide every single wire. Obviously, some stuff they actually intended to leave externally because it adds to the feeling of detail, at least in my opinion. They could have hidden more of this stuff away because they have the parts. They have the specialized parts that they have designed specifically to manage cables. So these parts here are their own design. These parts here are their own design. They've got 1x1s in square. They've got 1x1s in round. They've got 1x4s, channels that allow you to move stuff horizontally. They've got tiles with channels underneath. So all of the wire management is absolutely top class, better than anything that I personally have seen on the market for brick-based products as far as aftermarket things. And this being a powered Mills plate also already has touch plates at either side, so that if you get multiple in this series, which this is the first thing in this series so far, but they're planning on expandability in the future, so you can just connect something right up to here. And this is what it looks like on the other side. So these exact same type of connectors are used between the floors as well. And these just have the little pogo sticks on them so that they're spring loaded. So they can give you some good connection. I'll start going through some of the details here. I know a lot of people don't want me to waste time, so I'm trying not to spend a lot of time on any one thing here. Again, all details are printed, no stickers in this one. The prints are good. They're like UV style, so it's slightly raised there, not the flattest, but very opaque. Thank goodness. You've got a print right there. Interestingly, let me see if I can do this live. I usually don't change my height while I'm recording, but I think I can get you in there. You can see the door over there, print up above, and then around the back. Yeah, this is what I wanted to do, is open this up so you can see a little bit of detail in there. And there's, again, that small light inside of this space. So if you've got somebody in there, then you can see them. And while I'm here, let's go ahead and take this panel off, which can also be removed. And you can see the bike shop has a frame being worked on there. And you turn this around, and there's also cybernetic enhancements that are done in this space. A different light, different color of light. This whole thing right here is fantastic. It is on a slip ring. So you notice there's a wire right there. It's going up ultimately to the light that's up above. but I can just turn this, and I can turn it, and I can turn it, and the wire is not twisting because it's using what's called a slip ring underneath. So this can turn infinitely, and it never becomes a problem in that sense. Also, I'll go ahead and leave that half and half just so you can see it. The garage door uses clear roll-up pieces, familiar looking parts right there. And they've got a little knob out here to allow you to roll that up. And it uses some pieces that I don't think the leading brand has, but it's just very nice, and it's inspired by the design of a modular building that we've gotten before, but it's just made more compact, and I think it works better. Again, battery box, not something that you want to see. I know that. I definitely agree with that. Interestingly, this awning here can be moved out of the way. So if you wanted to put figures on the balcony up there, you can use that. This is a flexible hose piece right here. Oh, did I show the detail of this up close from this side? Tons of prints in there. All right. You can't actually use this. It doesn't actually open up or drop anything out, but everything is printed inside. Yeah, flexible pieces here. Oh, with these, the kind of fiber optic piece, this flexible, transparent or translucent piece right here. It does come slightly long. They specifically tell you in the instructions, if it seems a little bit too long, just cut it. So that's what I did. Just trimmed off, I don't know, maybe 3-4 millimeters from one end, just so it would fit in better in my personal opinion. If you put some time into this, you can make it look straighter. But as you can see, this is one small issue with it not looking as straight as it could. Oh, before I go any farther, I had one problem. Talking about part quality and design. I had one problem in this whole thing, which was right here. This lens is supposed to be on the light that's up underneath there, but it is designed, it's got a stud, so stud on top, stud on bottom, and then a lens piece that has an anti-stud built into the base of it. And this in turn is supposed to go inside of the anti-stud of a 1x1 round plate. So a stud that has an LED within it. And the way that LED was glued in there just didn't quite leave enough clearance for this to fit in. There's another space, there's another stud that I tested this against and it worked just fine, but this one did not. Doesn't change anything for this. Maybe it actually lets there be a little bit more light than there would be by default. I don't know what the diffusion would be like with this and also the lensing, but I did want to point that out. One thing that didn't quite go right. So if I wanted this to go into place, I would need to re-glue, pop out and re-glue that LED. A very, very small thing, but I don't know why they even tried doing it that way. Like I said, I tried another one and it worked just fine, but gosh, your tolerances in manufacturing need to be so good to pull that off. It was brave of them to try, but it did not work in that one case. Again, edge lighting for this right here. Yes, the hamburger does appear to be upside down. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but look at the name of the company. They do make some mistakes. So that might just have been just a mistake. But again, this lights up very nicely. It's not actually attached. It's just a friction fit into this space, but it works fine enough for me. I think this is a print, not a laser etch. I think it's a print on top as far as I can tell, but I need to look at it under a loop or a low power microscope to verify that. But no sticker is involved with that, and it's not going to scratch or peel off. This level in between here has a sliding door. Let's see if I can get you a better angle. It's slightly better, but it's just a small thing. A lot of pieces go into that. Doesn't open up very much, and unfortunately, you just can't see inside of there. Now, technically, you can take off this next level, but I don't recommend it. It's really not designed well for taking off the individual levels. I'll demonstrate that in just a minute, but thankfully, they do give you access around the back. This one is a shame because there's some great detail back there. Like I said, I'll show you, but I'll also show you why it's best to just use these accesses here. Prints, just because. I don't know why. I like these little tubes right here, this little sleeping unit, but why did they have to do prints? I don't know. They didn't need to. There's a light for the restroom back there. You can see inside. So that lights up, and just a little bit of detail on the wall. Oh boy, difficult to get focus in there. But at nighttime, this lights up so much more when I don't have all the lights on in the space. It's much more interesting, but the lack of easy access to this over here is unfortunate. Let me see if I can do this semi-live. I'm trying to do as few cuts here as possible in this video. It does have some spots. Let's see, was it here or was it here where this will loosen up? Okay, that's the spot. But these touch plates, see, that's supposed to let go right inside of there. That's supposed to let go, and it didn't. So I really don't recommend doing this. It's good during the assembly process where you just get a whole other level lit up, but then once you want to take it apart, it's not working quite so well. And really, I think it's designed just to have access via the little these guys. But yeah, this one just kind of popped up and isn't supposed to. But now with that out of the way, you can see all this detail that you were missing right here. Like, that's something that you want to see. It's unfortunate that you don't end up seeing that. They've even got the little power distribution box down at the bottom, which is real, which is sending electricity out to the different lights. But it would have been nice if this was visible, because that's a whole bunch of prints that you're just not going to see after this is assembled. Okay, there we go. So that's all back in place. So go ahead and put the awning back. This level is obviously much taller, and this one gives you great access. You can see in there just fine, no problems with that. And I think that they should have used more of this, focus more on this sort of design of being able to open the entire thing up. So you got a little workbench right there, more prints just for the sake of prints, and some detail behind here just because, which is nice. I don't mind it, but it didn't need to be there. I'm just saying. Got a little loft over here and some details like greebles for the sake of greebles. This is, I guess, the ladder to get up to that level as well. And this one has some windows as well. Nice to see that clear 1x4 brick over there. This is like an air purification system, I think is what it's supposed to represent. Love seeing the transparent dark green here, and there's just a small plant on the inside. And I think it's just air purification. There's a light up above this, as you can see there. And this door obviously can open, and because there is light inside of this space, that is relatively accessible to appreciate the details. And I think that's really important. It's just being able to see the stuff that you've actually built. And then there's a light over the workbench over there. And then coming up higher, so another sign. I already saw that in the dark. The printing on there, printing or etching, I think it's printing, is not perfect, as you can see, but it's far beyond good enough for me. With the lights turned down a little bit, and especially if you're powering it by USB, which I highly recommend as opposed to changing AA batteries all the time. Now, the roof, I'm happy to report, went very, very quickly. It's just a sandwich of plates and tiles. It does have a nice amount of 3D, actual build upon it for the representations of HVAC. The only lighting that's up here is just this one finial little warning light. And it's still on here, so I got a little bit of pulsing, but this all looks good and looks appropriate for the theme. To me personally, I think I much prefer having it look kind of dirty like that. I did my own cyberpunk stuff like that, having faux wires and things, and this just happens to have one actual wire going around it. Got a little duct work going around here. These are just prints on these little sign pieces going all the way around, and that's it. Like I said, this came together really, really quickly at the end, and doesn't try artificially to make this significantly taller than it actually is, like I've seen on some other vertical builds, so that's not a lot of waste in that sense. Overall, taking a step back, you can see that it looks good from a lot of the camera friendly angles. Once you start to turn it around to the sides, this doesn't look that bad, but it's kind of plain. The thing that I like about it least is the wiring, the USB wiring in particular. Strongly recommend using just a USB power bank, or hook it up to a continuous power supply. USB-C right there. They also have an individual switch down here, so you can switch the battery box off here. You can switch the individual whole plate, which is the entire building, off down here. But the rest of this on this side, to me, looks just fine. Like this side, I'm happy with, even though there's a small area here that's kind of plain. The wires actually break it up. I like that in this case. And I know that in other other themes where they don't want the wires to be shown, they just don't show them. They run them on the inside instead. But overall, a good experience this was, putting it together, and yes, 99% satisfaction with the completed product. The extra stuff tray is kind of silly because you have all these extra arms and some hands for the figures over there. Some extra tools on the sprue here. You just twist those off to remove them. Comes with a pair of tweezers, which are rounded at the end. These are used to help if you need with the routing of wires around, but all the wires, and I do have to show this in every single video, I'll try not to spend too much time on it as we continue to go and as it becomes repetitive, but they have this entire series of parts that they've come up with channel pieces to route wires around without ever pinching the wires. So there are no pinched wires in this, which is absolutely revolutionary because nobody else has done a commercial system for brick-based lighting systems that does not pinch wires. This just routes wires where they need to go. They also have a 1x4 channel. They've got the tile pieces, and the 1x2s are used a fair bit. The 1x1s are used a lot because they're able to pass wires straight through or turn 90 degrees. There's a slight curve on the inside of there, so if you pull wire through, it's not going to be chafing or scraping off the insulation from it. This is just a little bit of extra double-sided tape that's used for one of the things. This is their brick separator. This is a crosshead screwdriver for the battery box, for batteries for the sake of safety. This gets you power from USB directly to an individual light or a small light or a small power bridge. So it's not used in this particular case here. And then some of the extra pieces over here, nothing really special to see here, but I was very happy to see well, we've got stud on both sides, but we've also got anti-stud. So this company does have anti-stud, where it's just a 2-plate high piece that's just a square open on either end to convert the direction of building 180 degrees in one place. Oh, one other thing that I did not mention, I just remembered, I forgot to mention, there was one small thing that I had an issue with very briefly while putting together one of these stacks of plates. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but there was one area where when I pushed the parts together, there was a hollow on the inside and it wanted to kind of collapse. There just weren't enough pieces on the inside. It was like one brick thick, but made with plates. And there's one area where I needed to push that together and it wanted to collapse in the middle. So I ended up having to open it up. I think it was over here actually. Had to open it up and push the parts together that needed to be pushed together and then just close it back up. That was the worst thing that I encountered during the entire build process for this. And for folks who are interested in the manuals, this is actually the second manual here, but I do have to show this on a regular basis for folks who haven't seen the previous video. The instructions are good, and you can get the digital instructions as well, but they give you these giant manuals with plenty of full color instructions. And one other thing, on the topic of manuals, I usually don't focus on manuals because, they just exist and they're either fine or they're terrible. They do have actual stories that they've come up with for the individual figures. They put extra into that, but this was very interesting to me. I don't know quite why they did it, but it's very interesting. Analogous colors list showing you what the parts look like and what the colors look like versus what they're going to look like in the reduced color renders in the instructions themselves. It's a really nice concept, but I wonder why they wouldn't just print it this way. I'm assuming, and folks in Twitch chat while I was building it were saying, well, it must be more expensive. The process here must be more expensive. They must be using more different inks. That's the only thing that makes sense, but otherwise, why not just show things the way that they should be? Why not show truer colors if you have the ability? I thought that this was all printed with the same process, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But it was just interesting to see and a nice thought, but I think they can probably even go farther by just increasing quality farther all throughout. So again, the retail price of this is $170 US for 2,507 pieces, is it? Haven't been able to see it sold for less than 20% off, but it did sell out on Amazon because people are gobbling this thing up. What is the catch with it? I don't know. I don't see any gotcha here. Again, figures, forget about them. Who cares? Look at the build. This exceeded my expectation. I went into this looking at the pictures on the manufacturer's website, looking at third-party sales site pictures and things, thinking, okay, renders are renders. Ignore those. Take them with a grain of salt. Photographs can be edited in Photoshop, bumping up the brightness, bumping up the saturation of the lights and everything. But the lights are brighter in person than what I saw. The lights are more saturated in person than what I saw. The build is good. It's interesting. It introduces even more pieces that I didn't know that they had in their inventory that are really good. The part recolors are wonderful to see. Just so much of this is just a positive experience for me. The fact that you can open things up from the back really easily is very convenient and very nice. It looks so from one side, and the battery box is big. Those are the worst things about it. I had that one small issue with a part, had one small issue with an assembly. Otherwise, this is what you see. Like, if you don't believe what you see here, that's fine. Healthy skepticism is healthy, especially these days, especially online. But I like this. This just continues like the last, which was the first set from this company that I bought and built and reviewed. It's just reinvigorating me. It just feels good that I can get this much stuff and it can be this cool. And it doesn't have to cost $1 billion. I just feel like I've gotten my money's worth here and then some. And it makes me want to, for one, try more from this company. And yes, I did get this thing. I'm well aware of the existence of this in the line. And hopefully they'll do more things in the line as well. I also bought this. It makes me want to work on my Lego City too. It makes me want to integrate more lights now that I see really straightforward ways to use lights. I'll have to modify some of my own bricks in order to use some of their techniques, because the parts that they have designed for themselves are unique to this brand. And I don't think they're going to be licensing them out anytime soon because, well, they've got a really good thing going and they have they've started the design patent process for those parts. They have a right to do that, just like the leading brand tries to get design patents on every single shape known to humanity. That's the world of business. But I want to be more balanced. I want to tell you lots of negative things about this, but I just don't have negative things to say about it except the tiniest little nitpicks and the minifigs. That's it. So thank you for watching. I can't say thank you to the company for sending it to me because they didn't. Thank you to my wallet for spending the money to get this, and I'll see you in the next video, which probably won't be one of these, but you'll be seeing more from this company from me in the future for sure, because I've got a stack of their products that I have bought because I'm happy. I am in a good space with this. Bye for now.